Shri Gurubhyo Namaha children, I welcome you all to our online English class. In today's class, we are going to see chapter 2 of your Moments English book. Let's get started children. So today's lesson is The Adventures of Toto, written by Ruskin Bond. Before going into the lesson, let us know more about Ruskin Bond. Now Ruskin Bond is a very famous writer and I hope many of us would know about him. So Ruskin Bond is an Indian author of British descent. He was born on 19th May 1934. Okay, he has written lots of stories for children and the Indian Council has recognized his efforts in the children's literature. And he is conferred with lots of awards children. Sahitya Academy, Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan are all bedecked on his chest. Let's get started into the lesson children. So this Adventures of Toto is a lesson about a red monkey. Okay, how this red monkey is being reared or brought into the author's family and how it is going is a lesson. Grandfather bought Toto from a tonga-driver. So here the grandfather is the narrator's or the writer's grandfather. Okay, he bought Toto. So we come to know the name Toto. Okay, what is Toto? We'll move on further to find out. He bought Toto from a tonga-driver. A tonga is a cart which is pulled by horses. Very famous in India, you can see this. For the sum of 5 rupees. So he had bought this animal for rupees 5. The tonga-driver used to keep the little red monkey tied to a feeding trough. And the monkey looked so out of place there that grandfather decided he would add the little fellow to his private zoo. So we come to know this Toto is a little red monkey which is being held by the tonga driver, and this tonga driver used to tie this little monkey to a feeding trough. Feeding trough is the vessel or a long thing, okay, wherein we used to feed animals. Okay, he would tie the little red monkey to the feeding trough, and the grandfather, when he looked at Toto, he was so like out of place. Okay, the little monkey was so pathetic. So the grandfather decided to buy the little monkey and take him and add him to his collection of animals in the private zoo which he maintained. So we come to know that the narrator's grandfather is having a private zoo. A private zoo means a collection of animals which he is rearing. Toto was a pretty monkey. His bright eyes sparkled with mischief beneath a deep-set eyebrows, and his teeth, which were a pearly white, were very often displayed in a smile that frightened the life out of the elderly Anglo-Indian ladies. So herein we see the features of Toto. How the Toto looked. Okay, he was very mischievous. His eyes sparkled with naughtiness, and he had a very deep set of eyebrows, and his teeth were pearly white in color, in pearl color. Okay, whenever he smiled, it took the life out, which means what? The Anglo-Indian ladies were freaking out whenever he laughed. So wild, so evil was the laugh of this little monkey. But his hands looked dried up as though they had been pickled in the sun for many years. So with his face and all we have discussed, now when we see through his hands, it was looking as though it was cakey, it was flaked. Why? Because as though it was been pickled, means what? It has been put to dry in the sun for many years. Yet his fingers were quick and wicked, and his tail, while adding to his good looks, grandfather believed a tail would add to anyone's good looks, also served as a third hand. Though his fingers, though his hands were like cakey or were like worn out, his fingers were quick. He didn't lose his muchness. Okay, his fingers were quick and it was wicked. Wicked means here he was very mischievous. You know, monkeys would grab anything you would have in hand. Yes or no, children? So, like that his fingers were quick and wicked, and he had a tail which added to its beauty. So, this little monkey was itself cute and the tail was adding to its beauty. According to grandfather, a tail to any animal would make it look beautiful. He could use it to hang from a branch, and it was capable of scooping up any delicacy that might be out of reach of his hands. So, the tail also served one more purpose. It served as an additional hand to the little monkey, and it was capable of scooping. Scooping means what? Grabbing anything which was away from his hands. So, if there are any things which he could not reach by his hands, he would use the tail to scoop it up, to drag it. Grandmother always fussed when grandfather brought home some new bird or animal. So, grandmother is not a very big fan of animals. Whenever grandfather brought in new animals, she would show faces or she would fuss about it. Fuss means what? Not showing interest or particularly dislike. Okay, she never liked any new animal which is being brought home. So, it was decided that Toto's present should be kept a secret from her until she was particularly good mood. So, grandfather decided even if it's going to be a new bird or some casual animal, grandmother wouldn't like, and that too now we are going to bring a little monkey, definitely grandmother wouldn't approve. So, what grandfather decided, he thought he will keep this little monkey a secret, okay, until the grandmother is having a good mood, when she is in a good emotion, only that time he wanted to reveal this little monkey to the grandmother. Grandfather and I put him away in a little closet opening into my bedroom wall, where he was tied securely, or so we thought, to a peg fastened into the wall. So, what grandfather and narrator? Here the narrator is our Ruskin Bond. Grandfather and I. Okay. I here refers to the narrator of this story. Here it is Ruskin Bond. So, he says, so in order to hide this little monkey, they both decided to put him in a closet. Okay, closet is a small enclosed place to preserve things. Okay, they decided to put him into this bedroom closet. Okay, and where he was tied securely. So, he was tied in the closet securely into a peg. Peg is, see, you could see this hanker. We have a metal provision, no, to hang our shirts at our home. So, that is called as a peg. So, what they did, into a closet there would be pegs in order to hang the clothes. So, this grandfather, he tied the little Toto to the peg securely. A few hours later, when grandfather and I came back to release Toto, we found that the walls, which had been covered with some ornamental paper chosen by grandfather, now stood out as naked brick and plaster. So, after some time they wanted to release, because we cannot keep an animal enclosed in a small space for a long time. Okay, so they came to release Toto. When they opened the closet, they were shocked. Why? Because the plaster, the paper which was stuck on the wall has been torn out by Toto, and now the wall is only standing as a naked brick, which means what? There is no wallpaper covering there. The little monkey has torn it out. The peg in the wall had been wrenched from its socket, and my school blazer, which had been hanging there, was in shreds. So, that was not the shock. Okay, there were even more terrible things which he had done. What he did, he wrenched the peg out of the wall. You know, in order to fix the peg on the wall, it has to be fastened with nails and hammered on the wall. So, this little monkey was capable of wrenching the peg out of the wall, and that is not the last thing he did. Okay, and the blazer, the school uniform which was hung on it, was torn into shreds, which means what? Small pieces. The little monkey tore the uniform blazer into small shreds. I wondered what grandmother would say, but grandfather did not worry. He seemed pleased with Toto's performance. So, this narrator was shocked. What would the grandmother now do? Because she already doesn't like animals, and if this is going to be revealed, she is going to be freaking out. But grandfather was calm. He was admiring the performance, which means what? He was just admiring how a little monkey could do all these things. So, he was admiring the performance of the little monkey. He is clever, said grandfather. Given time, I am sure he could have tied the torn pieces of your blazer into a rope and made his escape from the window. So, now the grandfather is telling this little Toto is very clever, and if he had come a bit late, what he would have done with the torn blazer, he would have tied all the shredded piece together and made a rope with which he would have used it to escape away from the closet. So, he is very brilliant, he could have done this. So, that is how the grandfather was admiring Toto. His presence in the house still a secret, Toto was now transferred to a big cage in the servants' quarters, where a number of grandfather's pets lived very sociably together. So, now they decided this little Toto is not to be kept at home. Okay, he is capable of destroying anything given to him. So, they decide and they put him in the cage and they transfer him to the servants' quarters. So, that is where the place the servants live, and many of the animals which this grandfather was having were kept there. So, that place they are transferring Toto. So, there were many animals which were sociably together, which means what? There were many animals and they were living at harmony with each other. A tortoise, a pair of rabbits, a tame squirrel, and for a while my pet goat. But the monkey wouldn't allow any of his companions to sleep at night. My grandfather, who had to leave Dehradun next day to collect his pension in Saharanpur, decided to take him along. So, there were so many animals, there were squirrels, tortoise, goat, everything were there, and everything didn't have any problem at all. So long they were happy living together. But when Toto was brought in, he was not able to socialize with any animal. Okay, he was a problem to every animal there. So, grandfather felt it is not wise to leave the little Toto in the servants' quarters or with other animals. And he had to leave to Dehradun next day. He had some work. He had to collect the pension from the office. So, what he decides to take Toto along with him, because he cannot leave him here. He would create a mess. And moreover, the grandmother doesn't know that Toto is here. In order to hide it and keep it as a secret, he decides to take Toto along with him. Let us continue the class in the next session, children, and find out what are all happening into the story.